Hello, I'm iPost and normally I talk to you about antique swords, like the one behind me, which is a wakizashi from the Shinshinto era. Today, I'm not going to be talking to you about antiques, and instead I'm going to be talking to you about a company which sells replica swords. That company is Mini.Katana, which you might know from their social media. They know that word of mouth is extremely important, as you can see in this tweet from their owner. So, here are some words from my mouth. Mini.Katana is not actually a sword company, and they're willing to admit it. But that has a few consequences when it comes to the quality of their product. Because Mini.Katana is not a sword company and is instead a DTC or direct-to-consumer company, they're not involved with the manufacture of their products. Although Google would tell you that DTC means direct from manufacturer, that's not the case with Mini.Katana. What Mini.Katana does is buy swords from the manufacturers or contract the manufacturers to make them in Longquan, China. Longquan, China has been producing swords for a long time, of various quality levels, from the lowest of anime replicas to very high-end Japanese swords and other swords indeed, not only Japanese. But what Mini.Katana does when they subcontract a forge is get them to send container loads of those swords, often 7,000 at a time and several containers arriving at once. And that is a lot of objects to do real quality control and quality assurance on. And Mini.Katana has been clearly slipping in this regard, as you can see in this recent Reddit post, which is what spawned this video. This Reddit post shows a sword which has a badly bent blade, which could not have occurred during shipping, otherwise the saya, or scabbard, would have cracked from the amount of force exerted on the sword. This is clearly something which was not caught in manufacturing, not caught in quality control at Mini.Katana, and shipped to the customer. This isn't, however, the only consequence of being a direct-to-consumer importer of Chinese-made swords. The other consequence is that Mini.Katana, while on their website being responsible and saying that their anime swords are for display only, is not internally consistent. If you go to their official Mini.Katana Discord server and have a look at some of the posts by staff, you'll see ones like this, advising that their dull or blunt katanas, such as their anime swords, can be used for light cutting. This is an extremely dangerous opinion or position to push, as these swords are made of stainless steel with so-called rat-tail tangs, which entails a simple piece of rod welded onto the blade. These often spontaneously disassemble themselves even if you swing them in air, let alone try and cut even a light target with them, which leaves a long piece of semi-sharp metal flying at relatively high speeds and can lead to serious injury. Mini.Katana doesn't produce their swords. They have no oversight in the production of their swords, and they clearly don't have a particularly good understanding of the swords they're selling. They know that they are not a sword company and are instead a short-form video marketing company. However, for the privilege of their short-form video marketing, they are willing to charge you a 45% markup. In fact, this is their net profits. 45% net margin means after the cost of logistics, after the cost of import, and after the cost of warehousing and staff. This is pure profit. You're paying 45% more on top of all of those costs for precisely the same sword that can be purchased often from places like AliExpress. The Longquan forges, which Mini.Katana contracts, often sell directly or through Chinese middlemen companies. You pay a much lower price for exactly the same products for many of the things that Mini.Katana sells. While they might have exclusivity on certain designs that they're having made for them, I would bet you that eventually some of those swords are going to end up on AliExpress for a much lower price. And I would like to point out that those designs that Mini.Katana is subcontracting out are often the result of taking the designs from copyrighted media like anime and having them produced for them. These aren't Mini.Katana's designs, they are the anime company's designs from the anime taken and made in Longquan, China. Now, there's nothing inherently wrong with importing swords from another country, warehousing them in the US, and selling them on with a high markup. That's a completely valid business model, and it clearly works. However, it does mean that Mini.Katana really struggles with things like quality control, quality assurance, and knowledge of their own products and their capabilities. This was reflected in the damaged swords they ship and in the very ill-advised opinions cited by their staff on their own official channels. I would advise you that if you do buy from Mini.Katana after this warning, or in fact have already bought from Mini.Katana, to look at the capabilities of your swords with a more critical eye, rather than accepting the word of their staff or even the words of their founder. They are not a sword company. They are a short-form video marketing company. Keep that in mind the next time you pick up your anime replica and think that it might be fun to try and cut a water bottle, or else you might find a chunk of steel flying back at you. That's all I've got for you today. Until next time, stay sharp.